cool. So how'd you decide to do, like, what was your first mic or performance doing jokes? 1 year ago exactly. Was it the Odd?
Yeah, actually my first stand-up set I ever did, I was like 14 or 15, I think, and it was whenever I was like, I got suckered into going to the youth group that was like closest to my house because I just had some friends who were, well, what happened was I was in elementary school and one of my buddies would like go on this big bus and I was like, that looks awesome, and then he invited me one day and they kind of just lured me in with like snacks and fun, and then I got stuck there. But I ended up going to that church for years, and they knew me for being funny, and they were doing like a dinner one night, and they were doing like skits and other stuff, but they were like, you should do a stand-up set, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll get up there and talk for a minute.
Was it like the day of you found out, or was it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was day of.
Did you go prepare like some thoughts, or did you just?
Yeah, I wrote out some stuff and went. I wish I could remember anything I said there, but.
How long ago was this?
Oh God, that must have been like 40 years ago.
Yeah, like how you're dodging all the like people will know less about you than more by the end of this. Like, there's just more questions, just more mystery.
But my first set in Asheville was I consider it the year ago like my actual first set, because I hit a point where it was maybe like 2023 or 2024 or something, and I was like I'd always wanted to do it like for real, and I had ended up seeing some of the open mics while I'd been at the Odd, just like passing through with friends or whatnot, and I remember sitting in for a show and I was like, I think I could do it, you know?
Yeah.
And so I went and I wrote like, I think like maybe like 10 one-liners or something, and I went up and I didn't really talk to anybody or anything, and it went fine. It was just kind of, it's testing the waters, you know? But last year, it's kind of funny how it ended up happening, because it was like, what ended up setting it off. But stand-up is basically just like everything I'm doing up there was stuff I was already doing, just like in bars and out in public. Now it's just been like on a stage. It's like I was going around to like bars and stuff, just like giving people like fake names and just like messing with, you know, whatever.
Just living as a performer.
Yeah, pretty much. When I was like talking to this lady and things didn't end up working out, and it was like it had been like a little minute after me and my like longtime ex had broke up, and I was like, I should get back out there. So I moved to West Asheville too, because I had been living off Merriman, and I could finally start walking around and doing stuff, and I started getting out more, and I was like, oh, I think I might give another shot to trying to do like a real stand-up set, and wrote out some stuff. But that whole the first time I went to the Odd, I actually Julia ended up turning me away, and I had to come back the next week
because the list was full.
Yeah.
Or she just didn't like. She was like, not you.
She saw it in my eyes. She was like, this guy's gonna be trouble later.
Yeah, that I can see that. Yeah.
But what ended up happening was like my one of my roommates had me backed in when I was supposed to leave, and I couldn't find him, and I live within walking distance to the Odd if I really wanted to get there while walking, and I ended up like walking there, and it was like this time of the year, so it was really hot, and the clothes I was wearing were not suitable for it, so I showed up just like drenched and anxious. And it was like
Drenched and Anxious.
That's gonna be my new band.
That should be like a special name of your like whatever, something. It's captured now.
But I showed up, and by the time I had like got my bearings together and I went up to be like, hey, can I do some time? Julia was like, it's pretty full, you're just gonna have to come back next week or whatnot. And I was like, okay, sick. So I had to walk back from the Odd to my house and being like, well, if I walked all the way out here, I know I can do this.
That's funny. Yeah, so you kind of like had some, yeah, that's a common thing actually, talking to people a lot, that people do it early and then like not do it for years and then like do it another time and then be like, all right, now it's kind of like percolating in the back of your mind that you're going to really start doing it more regularly.
Yep.
I would not have guessed church would have been the first place.
Yeah.
Although I was watching the clips and I think you posted like an odd clip. It may have been one that I taped.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, this is my favorite preacher. You had a tie on. I was like, there is something kind of, I can kind of see there. Had you been on, you seemed like pretty calm and comfortable on stage. I don't know if you're like just hiding the nerves real well or if you got comfortable, but you seem pretty like relaxed.
Yeah. Well, I think when I think about it, I think there were just like 3 important things that happened right when I was starting out that made me just like, oh, I don't have to worry about getting up there or anything. The first one was having to do that walk up there and then having to walk back and being like, okay, I know I can commit to this. And
I like how it served a purpose, the drenched and anxious walk. Like even though you didn't perform, it was part of the journey.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, if you're putting yourself out there, you gotta take whatever you can from it. You know, good or bad.
Yeah.
But when my first time going, when I had got there early, I was actually gonna do my set. Whenever I like get kind of anxious, it's like it doesn't even have to be like alcohol or anything. I just have like a tendency to like want to have something to drink to like kind of like calm my nerves. So I was just pounding cups of those little waters while I was there. And
yeah, it's relatable.
I also fidget a lot, so I was like violently shaking my leg on the stool, and I ended up bumping the cup of water that I had, and I was wearing gray pants, and it spilled all over my crotch. And
first time, like after the drenched and anxious?
Yeah.
So still drenched and anxious in a different way. This is interesting. Is the third time also going to be some?
It could have been. It could have been. But when that happened, my mind immediately went to like, how can I make a joke out of this? How can I like roll with this? Like, what would be some good stuff to say? And I was like, okay, if I can get up there looking like I pissed myself for my first ever time trying to do this, I was like, I had nothing to worry about.
Yeah. Well, you got the winning attitude. I think some people might have had those same experiences and been like, clearly,
yeah,
the universe is telling me this is a bad idea. You're like, oh, this is great. You know, I just walked there and back. It got drenched, and then I looked like I pissed myself. This is perfect. This means I should do this. That's cool that you looked at it that way.
Yeah, I like to kind of sit in those like awkward kind of spaces, or I feel like that's just kind of what I'm used to.
Yeah, I think that's what I like about watching you. I think like Isaac was similar, like right out of the gate, seemed to really be okay with the silence up on stage, and I feel like that's something this usually takes people a long time just to like say a thing and then make everyone sit in it. I enjoy that.
Yeah, I think a part of it is like you know how much time you're having to do, but it's like trying to exist in that time versus like trying to fight that time kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I like that. I'm like still trying to do that after like 10 years, trying to like not fight the time, but just be like, whew,
yeah,
just be in it. Because like if I'm fighting the time, then it just feels fighty, you know, to everyone. And maybe you can make that work if you're like a aggro comedian or something. But
it's like, yeah. I think it's like the self-awareness in that moment. It's like you're not the actually realize it when it's happening is like a coin flip, really, you know? Because I was doing a show in Atlanta on Monday, and I was hosting, and I was the first one to go up, and they didn't have like a introduction or anything. They were just kind of like, get out there, and I was just material. I wasn't warmed up to it or anything, and I could feel it, you know, but there's nothing I could do because once I tried to switch gears, I was like, I'm going to forget what I want to say.
Totally. I still struggle with that. And the longer the set is, the more I'm like, all right, it's a lot. I have to like do it, you know, all and not forget it. But then you still need to walk up and just be like in the room and be relaxed. And it's hard to like, remember the plan and still kind of be present. How do
you like to kind of like approach stuff like that?
That's what I'm still like, hopefully I'm getting better at it, but I try to like, you know, if I'm going to do a long set, I try to always be like, there needs to be a joke about the room up top. There has to be something that happened or something just to be like this. I've just made this up. And then you try to like figure out how to transition into the material. And then anytime there's an interruption or somebody does something, stop the plan and go with that. You know, like things like that. Whereas I've always kind of had the tendency to be like, got to stick to the plan. But I mean, I say this on here all the time, but I feel like you can only talk at people so much. Yep. You know, 5, 10, 15 minutes, somebody talking at you, people just like, fuck this guy, you know. Something needs to happen with us.
Yeah.
So trying to like be open to that and then still remember all the shit. It's like, I don't know, trying to figure it out.
What was it kind of like for you just like after your first year? You can remember that?
Oh man, it was I think I like got on one show at the end of my first year. I didn't really like get to know the other comedians. Like I was pretty nervous and like probably not that funny. And the scene was real mean back then. It was like, it's gotten like a lot more like supportive. Yep. There was a bunch of like asshole bullies back then, but they were funny. I mean, it was like a strong class that's all like either quit or moved on elsewhere. I started like my mid-30s, so I was like older than most of them, you know. Yeah, I mean, I was a nervous wreck, you know, and but it was the most exciting, thrilling thing ever to like, not just be. I like had a kid and had a career and was married, and it was like this like alternate life where you could like be an artist and hang out with interesting people. But it's gotten better. I mean, the more I've gotten to know people and gotten comfortable with it, it's gotten better for me. It was hard, really hard for me at first. I mean, it's awesome to see you and people that can come right out of the gate and be good at it, you know, like Worth and people. That's cool. I feel like usually it takes forever. Like you hosted a show in Atlanta, like coming up on your anniversary. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You're crushing it.
I actually last week also I did like my first produced show that I put on. It's like it was a mix of sketch and stand up, and that was really fun. I think I had kind of got a little bit into a slog from writing jokes because I try to write a new 5 minutes every week. And before then, when I first started out, I was writing a new set for every mic. So I was writing like 3-4 new sets a week. And it was really just because it was fun. But then, you know, you kind of get to a certain point where you're like, I need something else to kind of shake this up. And once I started looking into sketch, I was like, oh, wow, there's like so many more possibilities for this. I think I kind of lend my writing stuff, like it tends to lend itself more towards like trying to fit something somewhere than just like trying to like make an idea happen, you know. So like trying to like put jokes in somebody else's mouth is like, oh, that makes more sense than being like, here's a totally original thought I had. You know.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, because sketch is almost like, I mean, I feel like you can do stand up like it's sketch. You can like become the characters and move around, but your stand up style seems to be pretty like you just kind of stand and say the jokes. Yeah. So that's interesting that like sketch, I could see how it'd be some other side of the coin. I'm trying to make my stand up more like sketch, or like make the bits, like if a bit is really like working, to try to like move more and do more voices or gestures, you know. Did you do like before stand up in this year, did you like, were you in plays or bands, or were you performing ideas on stage?
No, not at all. I think my first real introduction to it was my senior project for college. We did like a multimedia stop motion live action sketch kind of thing, and that was really cool and kind of helped me, like that was like the blueprint for what I'd like to do, like what the end of this goal could kind of be. But I really think my first introduction to like performing on stage or something was like karaoke. Like I had been out with some friends and just like seeing people just like totally stripped of everything else, just in their element, just up there, and it's like this could be anybody. It's like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. I never thought about that. Like karaoke is pretty similar to comedy. Like if you're trying to be serious about it, it's not as good. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, producing shows and like hosting stuff, like I mean, it seems like it's Seems like it's kind of like what you're meant to be doing, right now, as far as like Asheville
Yeah.
weirdo talk. I mean, yeah. That's do you like I think it's cool to like write a new set. Like I try to write a new set for every mic, or at least like it's something that I'm trying to do in a new way. Maybe Tuesday, Wednesday night would be the same thing. But I think the cool thing about going to mics when you is like the mics remind you have to always be coming up with new stuff. Like, do you have like the act, like the 5 or 10 minutes? Like if you're gonna go out of town, you're like, all right, this is my tight 10, or do you go out of town and be like, I'm just gonna write a new 10 for Atlanta?
That one, I like to comb and pick the stuff that I think had worked well through the mics. But I only recently got to like the set that I did this past week. I was like, oh, okay, this could actually be like a 10 that I would like go back to. I think the other stuff so far, because I haven't done enough, or I don't get booked enough to get the practice for like what would work out in a longer set right now.
Yeah, that's the hardest part, is cracking that.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think a lot of the 10 minutes I've done have been majorly different, but I still pick and choose some of my favorites, but just whatever's most fun in the moment, hopefully.
I mean, when you sit down to like write the stuff, like what is that? Do you like, you just have like a blank sheet of paper, like a phone blinking, and you just go like, I'm gonna think of some funny stuff? Or have you like written down funny things that have thoughts throughout the week that, or you have queued up? Or like, how do you write when you're gonna write the stuff? What was that like?
It's probably, it would be really annoying to see, probably, because it's just me looking at my phone, just like first thing that comes to mind, I'm just like typing as fast. It's like, it's like reaching a flow state almost. And the thing I think that really helped me for that was like going through college for art and having to just kind of like be on the spot so much, having to have so many new ideas. And while I was like doing a lot more work in school that was catered towards, like a plan kind of thing, I also really got into doing painting, and I got into doing like really abstract, non-representational acrylic stuff.
Oh, hell yeah.
And so just like having to have like a canvas in front of you and trusting just like motions, or just, just like turning something off up here where you can just like really get into who you are, I guess. That kind of like,
no, I love that.
It's like the same kind of feeling I have writing out jokes that I do looking at like an empty canvas or something, but
it's just words instead of colors and strokes. It's like,
yeah,
all right, time to like turn off the critic and just bang out a bunch of weird ideas.
I was talking to somebody about that recently, because they were asking me about just like writing or something. I was like, I think people kind of use like comedy and stand up right now. It's easy to see it more as like the canvas than it is the actual paint. It's like, it's so malleable in the stuff that you can get up there and do, and the stuff that people get up there and kind of just like accept. It's a cool thing to really tap into once you like kind of give up the like, this has to be a thing.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I could see that your stand-up, maybe it does come from more of a more abstract place or something like that too, where you're not like really explaining. It's kind of, I don't know, it's interesting. I think there's maybe, if you're starting comedy now, or it's there does seem to be like more just, I don't even know if I have the words for it, but more abstract, like,
oh, yep.
I mean, I guess it's been that way for a while, but as far as just like setup, punchline, I mean, we were talking with to Cody about that on the podcast when he was on, that like we were talking about Ryan Brown and how he has like a club kind of style where he's like setting up jokes and doing like crafting these jokes that are kind of more classic style. And then Asheville just kind of is a great place to just be like, you just go to a mic and it's almost like performance art.
Yeah.
And joke writing is like blurred into something. Like at the Odd is like, it's going to just be like a variety show of weird fucking ideas. And I go there and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have to just like set up punch. I like that, I like the abstract.
Do you like, I don't know, I guess like after doing it for so long, has it like, have you like noticed like your stuff like kind of like going a certain way, kind of one direction or something, or like has it just kind of been like free form or more kind of like have you had like an objective to kind of like get where you think like your presence on stage kind of should be or something like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, I'm always thinking about that. It's always changing. Like more time, like I'm trying to do 40-minute sets now and have it be good for that long. So I think like the goal is like longer time, and then so longer time means you just have to keep changing, because if you're doing one type of thing, like that might work for 5 or 10 minutes, but then within 40, so I'm trying to crack like storytelling now, because I feel like a few like 5-minute stories would be great in the 40-minute set.
Oh yeah. But
then the stories still have to be, I need to laugh like every 15 seconds, so, and then yeah, I taped something last year, and that was really cool because that was the first time I really like choreographed it. I really like made a point to try to like figure out how I'm gonna move. So I should do more of that too. Sometimes I watch back and I'm just like just standing there the whole time. I feel like the longer you go in time, the more I need to like sit down, stand up, walk to this side of the stage, yell, get quiet, try to do all those things. I think there's the danger of like leaning on what's worked more. The more you have like something consistent that works, the more you can almost repeat that, and that can almost be its own trap.
Oh yeah.
Whereas like that's why it's great to go to the mics where it's like a level playing field. The person that's like started last month can just get up and do the most insane thing, and then you can get up with like all your years of experience after them and just bomb, Yeah. And it's like that's probably like one of the best things I think to do is to like keeps you humble, And you like come to the odd, you're like, fuck, what are these? This is what it is now. I gotta get weirder.
That's what I say every morning. I wake up and I say, gotta get weirder.
I think you're doing a pretty good job.
I don't think I'm like that weird, but then it's like everybody else's reaction to me is like, I think you guys are putting on a little bit.
I mean, you seem like you like function in the world, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think there's something kind of avant-garde about your approach to stand up, I would say, like, I mean, like, but I think I think Asheville tends to be that way, and that's what's cool about it. Like, I would say like you and Worth and Mel and Isaac, there's just, it's got a avant-garde kind of quality to it. It's got kind of an abstractness that's very cool, that we're not all just, that we've got a mix of of styles, because I guess if you come into comedy now too, it's like maybe almost like when you come in, that's when you're the most, I don't know if you have like influences in people or if you're kind of just doing it as an outsider, but I feel like you're almost like shaped by the giants of your time when you enter, and that can kind of stay with you, if that makes sense, Like,
I think it's like I think that's true, but I think what really separates like kind of like the people now who I guess like would be like my class or whatever is like where we kind of grew up in time, being like early internet stuff probably being more like our like influence than being like stand-up specials or things like that,
Right. Like are there some things that you benchmarks, like names of things, like whatever your Seinfeld or Simpsons would be?
I spent a lot of time on the computer growing up. What kind of stuff was I watching? Let's see.
Like YouTube or like social
I was
media?
mostly watching like YouTube, like early like Smosh or like God, who I'm just like blanking right now trying to think about it, but pretty much anything from like 2000s 10s YouTube was like, that was my jam. That was
yeah, and that's cool because it's like, y'all are like seeing that, and then it's like in there. I think those things are always in there. When your brain's forming, like what is funny to me, even if you try to forget it, it's going to be a little bit in there. And then someone like me, I grew up with like different cultural like 90s and 2000s references, and then I'm sort of getting that filtered through y'all at the odd, and then that's kind of like seeping into when I look at my set list and I'm about to go up. I'm like, what the fuck is even happening? And then I'll go do like a show in like a Comedy Zone somewhere where everyone's older than me, and it's like feels really like almost like 80s or 90s comedy, you know. And I'm like I'm the abstract one because like I'm the most that way just from being here, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if these are coherent thoughts, but I think it's like you're seeing there's like the culture you come about in is like kind of shapes you in certain ways, and it's interesting to try to put words on.
Yeah, like at that show in Atlanta that I did, that was my first time doing like a big crowd that was like pretty much just people around my age range. You know, I'm usually used to like having at least some older people there.
55 years old, you said, I think.
Yeah, you know, we have to do it really early, you know, so we get to bed by 6. So.
I love an early show, as long as there's no windows.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was so hot up there when I was going because it just baking the whole day yesterday.
What was the venue?
7 Theater, I think.
Okay.
It's like right down the street from that like Skull Vortex place or something.
Yeah, the Laughing Skull.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. Like, I mean, you know, share what you want, but I mean, how do you do in Atlanta? You know, a year in.
It was through Aaron Westbury, if you've heard of him. He's a Greenville comic.
Okay, yeah.
He's gotten like a really big online following and has done like really well. But he comes out to the Asheville mics every once in a while, and he came out to the Odd one night when I went up. As sometimes as a like bit, I'll like give them a name that's not my name, and I think that night I had went up as Doug Butter, and I was just being stupid or whatnot. But it was like pretty much like after he got done with his set at the very end, I think he was the last comic, he kind of just like beeline straight up to me and was like, "Hey, what's going on? I'm Aaron. Nice to meet you." And we got to talking, and I'd see him out at the mics, and we kind of got to be friends. And he invited me out to do some stuff in Greenville before this had happened. And it's kind of funny. He invited me to do he does a lot of like experimental kind of like sets and like almost like challenge kind of stuff, like trying to he'll like the first time it really clicked what he was doing was a video I saw of him that was like a whole 5 or 6 minute set where he was just explaining how to play Settlers of Catan. And it was like, you know, like nobody was laughing or anything in the crowd, but the video was really funny.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like it's a weird angle to kind of like be in or
this
whatnot.
is for the internet later.
Yeah.
Like the audience is like, what the fuck's happening? But then later, the person on the internet's watching the person do it for the confused audience, and that's the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he invited me out to Greenville to do a comedy show with one audience member. And that was like the first time we like worked together.
With one audience member intentionally?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm like, yeah, that's normal. There's only one person. Oh, that was the concept for the show.
Yeah.
Who was the one audience member?
Just some guy from Instagram who was just a fan of his.
Okay. Yeah, I need to check this person out. It feels like I might recognize him or something. But yeah, I mean, that's a whole new thing for me too, is the whole, you know, the internet. I mean, that's like when I started comedy, it was like you might have like one long set on YouTube that you're just standing there doing stand up, but all this kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
There's like influencers in our region that have like 100K more followers than people that have been, you know, doing it for however long. And yeah. Is that kind of like, do you have ambitions for that with like sketch? I think you said something earlier about like doing the animation degree and then kind of stand up and then maybe sketch, and then there some kind of like, maybe you have some, they're kind of all, you're not like just, I want to stand there and say jokes. You're kind of like interested in weaving it all together.
Ideally I'd like to like create and produce, and like I'd like, if I could split myself into like 7 different people, that's exactly what I'd want to do. But I don't really want to like, the idea isn't to like work for like a company or something, you know. I'd really rather just be all me kind of thing.
7 people, like one would be like the sketch guy and one would be like the stand-up guy,
or like one would be like could like do all the like animating stuff. Somebody else could do all like the physical stuff. One could.
Oh
do,
yeah.
Like,
okay. Yeah. The same with me, like overdubbing instruments or something. It's
Yeah.
like drummer and all that. Yeah. I mean, it seems like you can do that now, but maybe it's still just a time thing with.
Yeah.
Because like yeah. So it's like, I think a lot about that, like building the process with time in mind, and that's why I kind of like I think I don't know if it'll make it in here, but at the top I was saying how I filmed this with one shot because it's like I have to sync the audio and then I can get it up. But as soon as like you try to start doing edits and stuff, it becomes like a thing where I need a second guy.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, how can you be the 7 people, but each of those 7 people can still be 1/7 of your time? I don't know. I mean, the tooling is getting so good now too that like you can do things really fast.
I'd rather just like drive myself crazy. I think there's something about it where it's like it feels like a carrot on a string right in front of me. You know, it's just like something about it almost being like so out there just makes it like that much more tantalizing to be like, I think I could do it. You know, so I don't know. I'm a lot of my what's the word, like perspective on stuff is like it's not a good one, but it's like trying to put the star in the circle hole kind of thing, and that's really what I just roll with, you know.
Like that is the performance. I'm gonna try to turn the AC on. It might be a little loud, but let's see if this works. It's getting pretty hot.
Yeah, I might start losing some of my grit.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that though. It's like the idea of trying to, you know, the classic thing is like, well, you don't put that in that hole, you dummy. But then now it's like watching somebody try to put it in that hole is funny. That's a compelling thing to try to do. It's like that almost reminds me of what you said about doing a show for one person or something like that. So yeah.
It's just kind of how I feel like I've always operated, and trying to stray from it. There's like I've definitely tried to do things that were more out of my element in that kind of sense, and it's never really went that well, you know. It just something about it was like, this doesn't feel like me. And this is like stand up and like all this other stuff has been some of the only stuff where I've been like, I have full confidence in this, you know.
Oh hell yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you seem comfortable up there. For me, the silence is everything. It's like you will just watch 30 comedians at an open mic. I mean, how many people allow there to be 3 seconds of silence? Like it's like 2 or 3 people. I feel like there's something about that that's really compelling.
It was kind of funny how that ended up like turning out, because it wasn't anything I initially like was like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do. It was a set I was doing one night at Third Room. They put me on really late, and it was like a really kind of like dead crowd. And I went up, and the first joke that I did just like flopped so hard. But because it was like so awkward, it was funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a really, like, I still went through with everything, and I like, it was one of the first times I like really kind of just like tossed out the set and just kind of was like, I'll just do whatever I feel like doing. And I was like, this is like what I should be after, you know?
Yeah, that's, you were asking me about, you know, how my approach is, and that I always want to do that. And for some reason, I never do quite as much as I feel like I should. And then every now and then when I actually do that, it's like, why am I not doing this all the time? You know Rory Scovel? You heard of him?
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's like, he's been around for a long time. He's done a lot of stuff. I think he's on a show now. He's from this region originally. He's my age. But he does fully improvised shows. Like, so he has jokes and he has specials that are written. But he'll be like, all right, here's my dates for the month. And all of these shows are 100% improvised, where he's like walking out to the mic and he has no idea what's going to happen. And I feel like if you can do it, there's just nothing better than that, because it's just, you can just feel that it's happening. Like an audience picks up on that frequency, and there's nothing worse than being the guy that's like saying the things you've memorized at people. Like that, people can tell. And I think I'm always trying to, like, I do like writing and I like jokes, and there's always going to be some of that, but yeah, always trying to get more into that, like improv, jazz, you know, there's writers and there's jazz musicians who just like, yeah. Just be fucking go crazy. Just whatever happens, happens.
Sometimes I can like find like a little in between where I can almost like force that kind of thing by something I've like already prepared, you know. And it's really interesting how you can like achieve that with just like by a look or like a pause or something, and it's like, oh, they just made that up, and it's like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, there's little things too. I think that's another, like, similar to silence, like the one look or the pause can actually be more. This might be a really cliche thing to say, but I feel like usually people are like shouting or jumping or trying to like do more to convey more, but really like negative space can be so powerful.
Yeah.
And it's so scary to like to sit in it, you know.
I don't think so. I kind of like it. The one set I was telling you about, where I made that connection, I actually ended up recording it and watching it back. I was like, that's the funniest I've ever been. And like, as soon as that first joke flops, it's like the smile I got on my face. It was like, I can't even do that for pictures, you know. It was so genuine. It was great.
And people, like, there is a thing where people know when it's genuine.
Yeah.
Like, I really believe that like there's no amount of like acting. Maybe a great actor is the person that, like Daniel Day-Lewis or something, but I think they probably still convince themselves that it is real, or there's some like crazy quality going on. But yeah, you do the joke, it flops, and then you're sincerely enjoyed, and then that becomes a new type of joke in that moment, like watching a person smile. Because the people in the audience are going like, it's scary to be up there. My worst nightmare just happened. And then the person's enjoying it, and then that kind of becomes a new sort of like meta joke, you know? Oh, it's hard to put words on.
I always forget that like people are like scared of like stand up or like speaking or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly, like, I grew up like really shy, just like never wanting to like talk to people or anything, and it was never out of like a fear of like, I think this is gonna go like wrong, or like I think I'm gonna make like a bad social interaction. It's just like, oh, I don't really feel like I have anything to say, you know?
Yeah, that's great. And most people talk too much and don't say fucking anything, you know, including me, like a lot of the time.
I also started thinking about, because you had mentioned Daniel Day-Lewis, I was just thinking about him being at like an open mic. It's like, can I get a type 5? I'd like to sign up at the open mic.
I mean, it would probably be good, right? Like, there's, you know, it's hard to imagine he'd bomb, you know? I mean, he might bomb at a comedy club where they're like, we're expecting jokes in a certain structure, but at the Odd, I think, yeah.
What's been your like nightmare scenario on stage? Has that happened?
Yeah, I mean, it's all the time. Like, I think, you know, there's just certain things mistakes I've made so many times that, you know, hopefully they're less severe, but my critiques of myself are like more refined. But I think speeding up, you know, when you're nervous, trying to get louder when you're nervous, it's like, if I'm truly bombing and it's truly going bad, like, I should be sitting down, I should be leaning back and relaxing more, or trying to find that smile you described, you know, like trying to like transcend the moment and be like, oh, this is fucking hilarious to the person on the internet or me later, you know, trying to have that like fuck the plan, you know. I did a set at Third Room just a few weeks ago where I was like trying a bunch of like things I hadn't really even have memorized or say yet. It was just so spacious and it was like so much air, and it was just no laughs, and it was like, I was like, I'm starting to get a little psyched out, you know. It's only 4 minutes. Like,
yeah.
And like, it's kind of like, damn, you can still just like feel that panic, you know, starting to, and I think I watched it back. I'm like, I think I'm hiding. Like, I think I'm getting better at it, but just trying to like transcend all that. And I mean, I really like what you said about the smile of like being able to lean into the bomb and actually savor it and taste it and enjoy it, because that is fun and that is funny. But talking about it now, that's clear to me. But sometimes in the moment, I'm still like holding on to how I wanted it to be. And I think just in life and in comedy, trying to just fucking be, man. You know, it's hard.
I have pretty much like zero expectations. When I go up, I think I have them, but it's like they drop as soon as they call my name. I'm like, all right, I just gotta there's a great quote from a Nathan For You episode with the judge. He's like going over some legal stuff, and he just says, something might happen here today, and if it does, so what? I think about that a lot.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good mantra before yeah. So yeah, I mean, but you usually have some jokes though that you are prepared to tell. I mean, are those like you memorize them, or you just got them on your phone, or
yeah, they kind of tends to change. I'm actually like such a nerd about it, and I like am technical down to like the word choice and like beat choice, and like if like I don't know, I can pretty much hear it in my head as I'm typing it, and I'm like, oh, that didn't flow right, or so. It's like really weird, just like kind of like switching the words like for and of or something, you know, something like simple as that can like really make or break a joke.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And that's really what I get into. I think part of it is like my demeanor up there adds to it, but I am like very careful and considered about like every single word I'm gonna say.
So you have a good memory then?
I think so,
yeah.
Or to some degree. A lot of the stuff I try to write out, even though it is really abstract, there are like anchor points that help me get from one joke to the next.
Wow, yeah. So I mean, it's almost like, I mean, I think that's what a lot of the great art is, always like two opposites. It's always like it doesn't make sense logically, and that's what's cool about it. But like what you're describing is like contradictory to me, which I like. It's like, you know, that quote about who gives a shit if something happens or not, whatever the words were, and then also being like meticulous about the words. It's kind of like those are like two different, you know.
Yeah.
You would think those are like two opposites, but you're kind of like holding on to both, like being a stickler about the syllables and the beats, and then also being like, I don't fucking give a shit. Like, it's just whatever. Like, I mean, I think that is kind of like, maybe that's what works about it with what you're doing, and it's like holding two opposites. Yeah.
I think about it like when I'm writing and like doing it, I think it works in like a J kind of form. I think it's like the joke starts going, it's like and then like this is where the next connection happens. It's like I don't know. That's just kind of how I see it whenever I'm like structuring something or writing.
Say more about that. About the. It's like a wave.
Yeah, that's kind of how I picture a set whenever I'm writing it out. And it's like, I don't think it's so much about like what is actually funny in it as much as like how it sounds coming out of your mouth kind of thing. Because I mean, I also like I play guitar a little bit too, and I don't really know like any songs, but I know how to play. So it's like a lot of the stuff that I was doing to learn guitar was just like starting with 3 chords and like trying to just like milk every single thing I could get out of just that, to where it's like it sounds like I'm playing so much more than just like 3 chords or something, you know.
I love it. You're speaking my love language now.
So I think that's like
minimalism
kind of
and
what happens with comedy too, something kind of similar like that.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the White Stripes?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like that was whoever was on last. Chris Lee. We were talking about, maybe it was Cody. Like, just, you know, having a limitation actually can create more interesting art. Just having like 3 colors, or, you know, 2 instruments or 3 instruments. Yeah, that's interesting, because I started out with music like learning songs, like the chords and the covers, and in the last 10, and later on I've gotten into like the sounds, and all the sounds of this podcast are just, you know, completely like me playing into my phone without thinking, like 1 or 2 chords, and then playing drums onto it without thinking. And like I've gotten more and more interested in kind of the approach you described, where it's just like trying to get as much out of like hardly anything, you know, whereas like when I was younger, it appealed to me more to like have a bunch of fancy chords and harmonies and lyrics and
Yep.
like be like the Beatles or whatever, which I still love. But yeah, I don't know if you call that minimalism or what, but that's interesting. So we got the minimal kind of music, got the abstract painting.
Yeah. But I think a lot of it is that I really respect work. I think that's really what it comes down to. Is like I like to have fun and like be relaxed and stuff. But like when it comes down to it, if I'm gonna do something, I'm really gonna like try and do it. I think, which is like what tends to help itself with like my writing and what. I mean, I did. The only thing I was really good at in school was like literature and like comprehension and stuff like that. I always scored really high on that stuff. So I think that really helped with starting to get into writing jokes. And like it's so much easier for me to try to make up a bullshit sentence and then like figure that out than it is for me to like try to like write like meaningful lyrics to like a song or something, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. I think is that the right side of your brain. I mean, that's another like two opposites thing, but yeah, there's like the logic, the mathematics and all that, and then there's more of like the tapping into the flow state.
I think mine's more like one of those like gates you use at like a county fair where you like it's like you like get in and it's like this is a circle.
If you try to go back, it's like
yeah.
Oh fuck, it's too late now.
Yeah, I think also just kind of with my influence and stuff that really helps me. I have like a really bad brain for like retaining information, like specific information, and I think I work a lot more off experience. So it's like I could like watch like stand-up specials or like try to like see what like good joke writing kind of is, but I'm gonna benefit significantly more if I just like go out and get lunch and talk to somebody or something.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. I don't watch a lot of specials, and I think it can even just be like then you're trying to copy what the specials are, and it's more interesting to have the set be from lunch with somebody who maybe wasn't a comedian.
There's like the thing about stand-up that I think draws me in is that it's such just like a expression of humanity, and to try to do that without living, then you're just not going to get anything,
Yeah, totally.
Same thing with any art, really.
Yeah, that's a goal for me, is to do more like stories and things too, and I think that's like with AI and just parallel thought, that your human experience is going to be more authentically you, and somebody else isn't going to have that bit. Whereas if you're being like, what's the deal with AI? It's like, it's likely there could be somebody else with the exact same take, So I think that's somewhere I'm trying to kind of move more into, is more into just...
How do you like approach like writing a joke?
I mean, lately I've been, having more luck by being like, when something funny is happening in real life, I try to just take note of it. It's kind of like, I was really into songwriting, so like sometimes you just get a little melody or an idea, like get that voice memo down, instead of being like, now I'm going to write a song because I've scheduled the time. It's like it's kind of happening, so trying to notice it and then like queue up a bunch of ideas. And I have been doing a thing recently where on my calendar I write an X on the day if I write at least one page of like comedy, which really just means kind of like what you said, like flip off the critic, flow state, and then go back. Then I go to the odd and I sign up and I go sit in the car and I'm like, all right, this fucking shit like actually funny? Sometimes no, underline the parts that are funny and then try to see if it works. Yeah, I mean that's like the thing I'm trying to crack, is like how to generate a lot of good jokes. I feel like I can do it with music, and it took like, how do I write a song? Took so long, and now I can do it, and it's like nobody gives a shit about songs, and I've done that. Like I want to be able to be prolific with jokes. I don't know, I'm still trying to crack that. Like there's some people can kind of like speak in jokes, like reach full immersion fluency, or you're like just funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like really just like throwing shit at a wall is what it feels like. because I'll sit down to write something and I'll just be like, bird in a blender. Who would I not want driving my car? What if a ladder was like a little uncomfortable or something like that? Then it's like, all right, now I got some stuff to work with or something.
That's great. So you can just generate. You can just be like, all right, silly shit, brain, go, and then you get those. I mean, all three of those things do sound like all right.
I think it's because
they're not.
I'm able to type it, and I'm not having to sit there and write it. And it's like, because if I was writing any of that stuff out, I'd be like, this is stupid. But being able to just be like, or whatever, it's like, oh, okay.
That's weird. Yeah, it's almost like digital feels more like throwaway or something. Like there's not as much pressure. Whereas like if you had like a pen with like a feather on it, and you're like
shit posting, if you will.
I mean, that's crazy too, because it's like we didn't even have those devices when I was like starting writing too. So for me, it's like I like the pen to paper, but that's really interesting to hear you say that like it could almost help, because I use legal pads. I don't have it in here, but the cheap, because like for a while I was trying to write in nice notebooks, and that would psych me out in that way, because it's like this is a beautiful like moleskin thing that I'm ruining. So I just try to go through like a legal pad at least once a month, and it's like so ugly that helps me be like, this fucking just fill a page with what you think is comedy. And then I think like a thought that I hear a lot that resonates with me is like you have to keep like the muse or the flow, whatever you want to call it, you have to keep it open. So if you're just making time to write a little every day, you're kind of like keeping your promise with like being a weird creative person. And then maybe you still go to the odd and it's like, this is all bad. And you just think of something in the car on the way there, or you on the way up. But maybe it's better because I still made time to be a creative person every day. You know what I mean? And not just be like the career dad who mows the lawn, and just making a little space for that, like abstract, non-linear thinking. Like this podcast helps a lot with that too, because it's like we don't know where it's like trusting that it's just. Who knows? It's you know what I mean. Like instead of being like, my next question is, because that's how I started it. I was like, I was scared to do this, so I was like, I would have questions, but it's like ideas happen. You just kind of have to let them happen. Get out of the way while being there. Yeah.
I think that it's cool to do stuff that's just kind of out there. It's so weird doing an art form where it's like, okay, this is like supposed to be viewed by people, but it's really just like supposed to be for me kind of thing. You know?
Yeah. Hold on to that shit.
That's really kind of like I don't know. I don't like to think about it, but it's like, I know that's exists,
And that's another challenge, like after enough years and you're like, well, I've done these things, then it's like, slowly I can lose sight of that it's like it's just fucking having fun, and it should be for me. Whereas like when you like what you said about trying to get like getting enough long sets, like getting more longer sets helps you write more and get better, but then all the things you have to do to get those long sets, like sending out the emails and the headshots and the bios and the website, like that's not really that fun.
yeah That was kind of like what turned me off of art for a little bit, was like that whole other side of it, and I just kind of started getting more wrapped up in trying to think about what it could be instead of just like actually making art, and then it was like it got to a point where I was like, I don't have to do this today or something like that, and it's like I haven't done that in forever, really. I haven't made a whole lot of art recently, but I've been doing a lot of stuff with stand-up, so it's been like I had to go somewhere.
It's making stuff with art. I mean, I think stand-up is like, I've done all kinds of different stuff, and I think it's one of the most, if you want to make movies, like do stand-up, because you're in front of the people seeing. I've found that the more I'm in my room deciding what's good, the more I can drift into like something that's really not what people want, which is cool. Like maybe maybe they don't need to enjoy it, but stand up really checks you on that, like every time, because they're there in front of you. And I mean, it's so immediate, it's so low overhead. You don't need other people or a lot of equipment. I think it's just like the great, like no matter what art you're doing, do stand up. I mean, it's gonna make it better.
I think a lot of the greatest art really has that, like, it takes you out of where you're at, and it basically is just like, you're in here with me now, you know? And that's kind of like the approach I like to take with stand-up.
Like you're in my mind almost, or like I'm not up here, like, I'm not up here for you or whatever. Like, you guys are in this room with me right now. Like, I'm driving the car. Like, I couldn't care how this is gonna go or whatever. It's like, I know everybody else has been coming up here and has their own vibe or whatnot, but like right now, you're here with me. You're the enemy. Yeah, the enemy. That's a twist ending on that.
Yeah, everybody in the crowd is my personal enemy. And that's what I have to do. I have to get up there and be like, rah.
Is that kind of like the round peg square hole thing? Like, you like a little, like, part of that conflict is appealing to you, like the...
I think so, but not in like an antagonistic way. You know, it's like it's never like, it wouldn't be out of malice or anything.
It's
but
not like, look at this fucking idiot in the audience. You don't seem like you're scaring them.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But it's like, I'm gonna get up here and I'm gonna talk about blenders, and you're gonna laugh, I hope.
And there's a bird going in, so get ready. I mean, like, enemy, you mean like it's a challenge to make them laugh, or it's like you're gonna this world that I'm gonna talk about's gonna be like the upside down, or like what?
I think it's kind of both, really. It helps me, like, I think that was definitely a little bit hyperbolic, but at the same time, I think that genuinely is like kind of my approach, you know. I couldn't care how they see me or anything like that. I know how it feels in the moment, and it's like, maybe wish that would have worked better, but that's not really like I don't know, that's probably just like a more me thing than them or something, you know.
It almost seems like maybe you're like, what I'm hearing you say is like you're kind of more strict to the craft and getting your words and beats right and doing that hard work, but then as far as like their approval, that's not, you know. I almost think that's more of a more moderner like approach to stand up, is like, I don't give a shit. Like, I think like Bill Hicks in the 80s there's like people that are like, does he not even want us to like him? Like, that was kind of almost like a new thing, you know, to be like, and now that's kind of like an archetype, is like, you know, I hope y'all don't fucking like this. This is my 5 minutes. And that can be like a framework you can play within.
Don't know what words to use for that, but it's like that, but just for like being weird and kind of just like off-putting, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
Antagonistically weird, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's like my earliest like big laughs as a kid. Like, my like best childhood friend was just extremely weird, and like the stuff that we would laugh at would be like things that just didn't even make sense. Like, that was like what was funny, is that it's almost like
I was just thinking about, just like in that same vein, it was like we were celebrating Isaac's birthday at a burger bar, and he had gotten some pizzas, and they had gotten some candles to like put in the pizza to light it, and I picked up one of the slices after he blew the candles out, and I was like, this looks pretty good. You guys are missing the best part. And I just shoved the whole thing in my mouth, candles included. And I just kept chewing it. I kept being like, I know there's something in here. I thought I can't. I'm like, what are they putting this thing in?
That makes sense. So you kind of just like, you're just kind of this guy. So now it's like been on stage more in the last year, but you kind of just...
Yeah, that's something I just would have done anyway.
Yeah. You didn't have to like figure out, I gotta be a comedian. You're like, we'll just put it on the stage.
Yeah, I was trying to like sign into like bars, like like when they'll be like there's a cover or whatever, and they have like the card machine or whatever. I just pull up my calculator and type in the number and hold it against it. I've done so much shit to just random people out there, and it's like the most terrifying thing sometimes is like somebody coming up to me being like, oh hey, what's up? And I'm like, who do you know me as? I had somebody, I was playing pool with some buddies one night, and we were trying to get the bartender's attention because our pool ball got stuck, and I went to peek around this corner, and I made eye contact with this lady, and she looked at me, and it was like, I was like, why do I know her? And anyways, it was like we got the ball back, and she came to a different table by us, and she came up to me and she's like, do you remember me? And I was like, no. And she was like, well, you told me your name was Whiskey Ginger, and we talked for like 40 minutes the other night. And I was like, I guess so.
It does sound like something I would do. It does sound like something I would do.
I'll like steal people's identity too a lot. That's one of my favorite bits. If it's the right person, it's so good.
Like somebody, just another person just walking around in town, or like a famous person?
Like if we're like, no, if I'm like with a group of people or something, or like somebody's like introducing themselves to me, they'll be like if you came up to me and you're like, hey, I'm Ryan, or you were like, hey, nice to meet you, what's your name? And I'd be like, what's your name? And you'd be like, oh, I'm Ryan. I'd be like, oh, that's my name too. And then it just goes from there. There's one of my favorites was one night I pissed this guy off at a bar because I kept doing that to him. And it got to the point where he was like, dude, you're not me. You're not me. I was like, no, I did all those things too. He was like, you're not.
But I am you. Yeah. And in a sense, that is true. I mean, you know, there's like a more profound... Yeah, that's interesting. So you're kind of just living in the sketches.
Yeah, it really never stops, I feel like. Unless I'm at work. I don't do jokes at work.
I mean, all through your childhood, like, was there like a point where this, like, you know, did you just always kind of been like, this is fun, or did you like, did you have like an influence, or did you see, like?
I think it was probably my dad. I think just like, because he raised me on like Comedy Central and like the Three Stooges from like a really early age.
All right, yeah.
And he always is like
that's great.
He's like a performer in just like regular conversation. He'll always try to do like voices or other stuff like that. And I think it just rubbed off. But I really didn't like tap into it until way later. I feel like a lot of the time I spent too much time trying to like reject that and make people see me as serious. And then it's just like I never talked to anybody.
Yeah. Okay, so your dad's like he's like a funny, like...
I think so. People enjoy him in conversations and stuff, and like,
that's great.
He's a yapper, but
getting exposed to the classics, I think, is probably good.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you want to be in a punk rock band, but still you heard Bach early on when your brain was developing. That's probably good. You know.
Yeah.
Three Stooges. I mean,
classic. Classic. We'll still just like do that shit to each other or whatnot. Just try to, I don't know. I think it showed me the importance of like trying to have fun in conversation over like having a meaningful conversation.
Yeah, like more play. Yeah,
which isn't useful for when you're needing to like actually talk about something. But boy, is it fun.
Yeah, I mean, I go back and forth on that. I've had stints of therapy, and sometimes I'm like, does it actually help to like really talk about, like, try to directly talk about things or not? I think like treating things as a game and having more play maybe has a more profound positive effect on your life in the end than trying to be like, no, this is a serious thing that we need to pick apart. I don't know. I
think it has for me 1,000%.
Yeah.
I have so much fun all the time. I think just trying to, I don't even think about it at this point, you know, like like another one of my favorites was like one night I was out with a buddy of mine, and we were both talking to some ladies. We weren't like together, but we were like at the same place, and it was maybe after like 40 minutes to an hour we had both like linked back up, and he was like, dude, I was talking to this lady and I got her number, we're going on a date tomorrow. And I was like, oh, I was talking to this lady, I was just doing pirate bits for 40 minutes. I was doing like a investment banker, like almost like scam con artist, like pirate. So I was like, how many doubloons do you have? We can get you more doubloons. Your doubloons are come on, work with me here.
That's great. I mean, yeah, I like that. You are a treasure to the scene. I think just what you just described is probably we hit our time, so we should end on that. Just kind of living as I mean, art can be kind of a pretentious word, but I think you kind of embody that.
Oh, thank you.
Spontaneity. Don't take yourself too seriously. It's a good reminder to people like me that are like working on the jokes.
It's got to be, I'm working on jokes.
I need more tags. Cool. Well, Leonel, thanks for coming on. It's nice
Of course.
to get to know you better.
Yeah, you too.